This is Module 8, Revising a Previously Graded Essay. So in Module 8, you're going to be doing something that you may have not done before in a writing class, which is that you will be actually performing revision on a paper that's already been turned into your instructor and given a grade. We've been practicing revision all class on papers that have not been turned in yet, but this is a different task. And as you're revising a previously graded paper, you might think, what more is there that can be done to this paper? I made it perfect as I could the first time I turned it in. But the reality is that there is always improvement that can be made on any paper, even a paper that got a fantastic grade the first time, because there always is further ground you can break. So these are some steps that can help you to move forward in the process of revising a previously graded paper. And the first is to focus on your instructor's feedback. So that's step one. Look at your instructor's comments on your paper. Why did you earn the grade that you earned? And when you're looking at instructor feedback too, you want to look at not just the kind of grade summary where your instructor has written notes in sentence form to kind of explain where the grade came from, but also if your instructor put line-by-line comments in the text of the paper, you should look at those too. Those are invaluable feedback in revision. Think about what were the biggest problems on the paper. If you need more clarity on this point, if you feel like you don't quite understand what the flaws were or where you should begin with revising your previously graded paper, ask your instructor, and you can always get more clarity on that topic. Step two is triage. The idea of triage is a useful metaphor here because in a hospital, when patients come in and doctors and nurses are doing triage, the whole point of that process would be to address the patients with the greatest need first. If a person is bleeding out onto the floor versus another person who maybe has a minor broken toe, then obviously the first person is going to receive more prompt attention because it's more of an emergency. You should do the same thing with your paper. And this is true when you're revising anything, but particularly with a previously graded paper because you know exactly what the biggest problems were because your instructor has already told you. So doing triage on your paper involves addressing the most serious problems first. The most serious problems tend to be content related or argument related, like not having enough evidence. If your instructor says you state all these opinions in the paper but there's no evidence to back them up, that's a big problem. That means your paper lacks the content it needs to be persuasive as an argument. So one of your first tasks is going to be putting in more evidence to back up your claims. Another very serious problem that should be tackled first is if you have a faulty thesis. If your thesis is not strong enough, if it's too narrow or too broad, or it makes a point that cannot be proven. All of these are serious problems, because it would be like trying to take out a really pretty painted car that has no engine on the inside, for example. A paper can be perfectly proofread and have no errors, but if that paper has a faulty thesis, then that paper is not going to earn a satisfactory grade for you. So these are some of the serious problems that you will want to address first when you're working on your previously graded paper. Step three, the final step, would be to clean it up. This would be addressing smaller problems, things like grammar errors, just typos like misspelled words, and also formatting issues. If you had, if your margins were the wrong size, for example, this is where you would fix that. The correctness and the appearance of your paper really do matter. Those aren't just hoops that we as instructors make you jump through to see how much you care. The reason that correctness and appearance matter is because if your paper is covered with errors, even the best content or argument won't shine through. The way that we see your great ideas is by being able to see them clearly and unobscured by a forest of mistakes. And so, again, this is one of the great benefits of revising a previously graded paper is the instructor has shown you where all these problems are, where all the bad patches are, so that you can clean those up and make your paper pristine for the second time that you turn it in.